So Dungeons and Dragons has made its way down or out of the basement bowels that it generally has been up into the kitchen table, the dining room,
Now the bedroom.
and not the bedroom. No,
No.
wives and siblings and parents and friends are all playing together in a much more kind of open light, and I think that's fantastic. I don't know what it is about Dungeons and Dragons. I think maybe it's because of the like live storytelling mechanic and just kind of like off the top of your head, you're building a story together with a little bit of a framework from a dungeon master. But it's just an amazing game. And I think what we want to do for you guys here on the second draft today is give you some resources of some of the things that have helped the two of us kind of come up with some of the things that we needed to put together for our campaigns and just be prepared and have some fun and dive right in.
hmm And that's what we're going to do right now. We're going to have some fun, and we're going to dive right in.
Yes,
Welcome
we
back
are.
to the second draft.
Welcome back.
Everybody plays Dungeons and Dragons now. I think a big part of it is like high fantasy has become mainstream thanks to like the likes of like the Lord of the Rings, even games like Skyrim, where like dragons and bows and arrows and stuff have become more accepted and less sort of nerdy. Like everybody plays Skyrim, and everybody's seen Lord of the Rings. So all that stuff isn't viewed as like just for nerds anymore. It's for everybody now. So.
Yeah, I guess if we want to make something mainstream next, we just need to get some like attractive people to play those people in a movie adaptation, and then we're good. Get a
Right.
Orlando Bloom, Viggo Mortensen, Elijah Wood,
Yeah,
Liv Tyler, get Kate Blanchett and the whole squad in there, and then everything's fine.
Yeah, how can we cast them all in a Thundercats movie? Let's get that going.
Just those people that I just mentioned, they are the
Thundercats,
Thundercats. They'd be down. They'd be into it.
Yeah, probably. I could see like, I could see Viggo Mortensen playing a really strange Tigra or something. Yeah, totally.
Okay.
Yeah, we're digressing. Let's get right into this.
Yeah.
First resource that I love, and you will love once you check it out, is a website called Orc Pub. And what it is, it's a website where you can generate your own character sheet, which means you don't have to go through the trouble of like looking through the big thick user's manual and the player's guide, which you kind of should anyway because they're awesome and they're full of fantastic artwork. But if you're not that quite involved yet and you're just looking to get started, orcpub.com or orcpub2.com, because there's now a later version of it you can use as well. It's a great site for just logging in, choosing which class of character you want, what race you want, and then you can click a button to auto-roll your stats and set your level, and you can export the PDF, you can print it out, and you're like already set to play D&D. Like that's all there is to it. Mm-hmm. You can set your gear, you can be as in-depth with it as you want, you can go as simple as you want and figure out the details later. But yeah, orcpub.com is like your starting point if you're just starting out. Or if you're a seasoned pro and you just want to like create a quick character or take your like stack full of notes and transfer it onto one character sheet, like it's great.
Yeah, Wizards of the Coast would probably direct you towards D&D Beyond, which is the more expensive and official version. But Orc Pub is great because you're not necessarily able to create all of the subclasses that maybe D&D Beyond would allow. But at the same time, if they're not available, you can create them, by scratch. So you can do kind of homebrew content, and it allows for that. And it's pretty great because I think most of the campaigns I've ever played in D&D have involved a lot of homebrew content, or just things being pulled from different things like Pathfinder, or we've generally played 5th edition. They're pulled from 3.5, or they're pulled from Pathfinder or something like that. And so in those cases, even if you were in D&D Beyond, you might not be able to find those things. It's good that you can create these things from scratch.
Yeah.
Orc Pub is probably one of those few resources that I use like on a regular basis just to make sure I've taken into consideration all the things I need to do. I've got my hit points taken care of. I've got the next like feat that I need for my fighter character, what have you.
Yeah. Your modifiers, all that stuff is more or less automatic. So yeah, it's cool. Yeah. The second one is Roll20, which is another website, which is fantastic because it's basically a condensed form of like the player's guide in website form. Everything is searchable. It's almost like a wiki. And you can like I play a barbarian, so I wanted to go through and figure out which path of the barbarian I wanted to go through. So I looked up barbarian, and everything is worked out into a table of contents, and everything is very plainly and neatly laid out, and it's all very succinct and very easy to understand, and it's a great resource again for the layman just starting out, or a quick refresher if you're like an old seasoned pro at playing D&D. It's an excellent, very clean, very concise, and very easy to use website. It's probably my top resource, actually.
Yeah, Roll20 has become very popular. You can create a free account and get the access to that wiki. I mean, a lot of the pages are accessible just by Google searching. It's one of the first things that'll pop up. I've been using it a lot when running the campaign that I'm DMing currently, and it's been a godsend for trying to figure out armor and ability modifiers and things like that, just like any number of little things. They have an entire component where you can play live with your party, and I don't know, there's a lot to explore on Roll20, so I definitely recommend it as well.
Yeah, it's very cool. Yeah. My third choice, well, it's more like a consensus of choices here.
It is, yeah.
5. Yeah. The next one on our list is heroforge.com. And what it is it's a really cool, I want to say Java-based interface where you can actually go through and build a 3D model of your character very quickly and very easily by just using drop-down menus and myriad choices of race and class and armors and accessories and hairstyles and beards and whatnot. And like right there, like in the browser, is a 3D model you can rotate of your character. And then what's cool is you can actually order that character built as like an actual miniature 3D printed. So I'll put an image side by side of the character I created for the campaign I've been playing with Alex and several of our friends. And then I'll show a side by side comparison of the actual figure I got a couple of weeks ago. And you'll see like the detail is staggering. I have no idea what the hell 3D printer they're using, but the thing is like identical to the model I created on the website. But even if you don't want to have your character created in 3D printing format, it's just a really cool resource to build your character and use it as like an image to like have an idea for yourself and for maybe your party or your dungeon master of what your character looks like. So again, the campaign that Alex and I are playing with a bunch of our friends, some of us are actually going to go have our figures made, but the rest of us just use it as a resource to create what our character looks like in our heads, and then we all emailed and shared those images. So now we actually know what each other looks like instead of just having to kind of reimagine it. So it's really cool. It's a really neat way to customize and visualize your character and show your friends what you actually look like when you're playing the game. So
yeah, it's very cool. Excellent. Yeah, I didn't know Flint was bald, for instance. That was great. Anyway,
shout out to Colville.
Yeah, and we didn't. So some of those details, they don't really get colored in when you're first kind of pitching your character. A lot of good DMs do that, and Alex did that. Alex is our dungeon master for the campaign that DTNR, and he did that when we started. Everybody kind of introduce your character, go around the table, let's talk about this a little bit, and then a lot of that happens during the game. But at the beginning, it's good to kind of get your bearings. I think the next time I'm going to start a new campaign or a new kind of character, I'm going to start with Hero Forge and just build my character that way, because I think I'd have a lot of fun. There's some things you don't really think about when you're right off the top of your head. Like in the campaign that we were talking about now, I knew that I just wanted a fighter character and I wanted to play a duelist. Had I seen all of the options, maybe that would have affected kind of where I headed with the character. So, I think Hero Forge is a fun resource just to see your character come to fruition, but also just to kind of if you're stuck, maybe that's a good character building resource as well.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. It's a good way to if you were to go side by side with Orc Pub in one tab and then like Hero Forge in the other. You can kind of, like you said, you can kind of work out your character's personality, aside from just his alignment. And sometimes when you're trying to figure out what the character looks like, you kind of figure out who that character is going to be personality-wise too.
Yeah.
I think that's awesome. Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So my next, I guess the last two of our recommendations are a little bit more dungeon master based. If you're one of those people that wants to be the world builder, the story creator.
The Puppet Master. Yeah.
The Puppet Master, yeah, and one that's been great for me is donjon or dungeon. It's an alternative spelling of dungeon, but donjon, donjon, 5e, and I think he's got, I think this website has multiple variations of Dungeons and Dragons, but this website is pretty great. It'll give you an initiative tracker, a random dungeon generator, a random encounter generator, random magic generator. It's just basically you type in what level the player characters are at, what difficulty you want the encounter to be, where the location is, and then it'll give you all of the creatures that are going to spawn, how many of them they are, how much experience each one is worth, and what the difficulty level for each one of those is supposed to be. And then you get this you can kind of grasp the situation. If you're setting up a very easy kind of like dungeon path, you can say you want an encounter every 4 spaces, and in each one of these they're going to run into this many creatures. It's pretty wild.
That's awesome.
It'll also give you spell sheets, magic items, basically anything that you would need as a dungeon master is here on the website. So
that's badass. You said you can do custom maps and stuff too?
I'm not sure if this website does that, but there are a handful of custom map generators online. I know that Roll20 has some of that capability as well. Mm-hmm. Every DM tries to do that a different way. I know that I used a simple wireframing app that was used for websites to just create some quick mock-ups for our campaign, and mm-hmm. So it kind of depends, but you can get creative with it. I'm not sure if I'll look into that. I'll check back and I'll comment below with kind of a response on that one.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Okay, so the last resource though, and one of my favorites, is another creator, Matthew Colville on YouTube. This guy has an entire channel devoted to Dungeons and Dragons, but he's the head writer at Turtle Rock Studios, or at least he was when he started the channel. And he's kind of one of the paragons of the D&D community online in YouTube. He has an entire 50 some odd episode playlist of how to be a good dungeon master, and it's really great resource, really great. Even if you don't want to be a dungeon master, I think those episodes are enlightening, because they teach you a little bit more about the different ways you can take a campaign, whether that's a sandbox or if it's on rails and it's got something, a very succinct end in mind. Very great resource.
Cool. Right on. Yeah.
He just did
we'll put a link to his channel in the comments below.
For sure. Yeah. He just ran a Kickstarter to do a new, what is it called? Basically what he did was he put together a Kickstarter campaign to launch a kind of battlements, I believe is what it's called. I'm gonna look it up as we talk now, but his Kickstarter game is fantastic, and what he put together was really excellent. Basically, resource for D&D 5e. Strongholds, basically. So it's essentially, we're running Storm King's Thunder. If you're not familiar with Storm King's Thunder, we've kind of come to a point now where we have a sort of stronghold in the Eye of the Allfather. I won't say any more because it might spoil things for people who haven't played that campaign or that run that module yet. But essentially what he's doing is he's creating a little bit more of a succinct way for strongholds to become a feature in Dungeons and Dragons, and I think that's pretty great because it gives you kind of a hub to come back to.
Yeah.
Anyway, I could talk about Matt Colville and his channel for the rest of the night, but I think it's just a resource you've got to go and check out. So better to hear it from him rather than us.
Yeah. So just to recap, Orc Pub, fantastic website for building out your character and building a character sheet. Roll20, which is basically a condensed strategy and player's guide in website format. It's very easy to read and very easy to reference. Hero Forge, which is a great visual medium to create the look of your character and also to customize and make and have delivered your own personal miniature of your character or whatever character you want to create. Donjon, which is, as you said before, a really great resource for dungeon mastering and for setting up encounters and stuff like that. And Matt Colville, who's pretty much just the god of Dungeons and Dragons on YouTube. So, yeah.
He's the dude. Those are some great resources. I'm really excited to re-explore a lot of those because you only get so much time. I mean, I feel like I'm diving into those when I need something, but each one of them has a little bit more extra resources that could probably help out with, especially with creating the campaign that I'm putting together right now. So.
Yeah, and Dungeons and Dragons is so much fun anyway that like just learning more about it and knowing more about it and kind of just having more of a general knowledge of it next time you go and play is a good thing to have anyway. So
yeah, definitely that framework is so expansive and you don't realize it. I think that's what's great about the game is that it's easy to jump into, but the more you dive into it and the more you kind of like live in that storytelling mechanic, the better it becomes for you. So.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely an experience where you get what you get out of it what you put into it. So for sure.
Cool.
So yeah, take these resources and put as much into it as you can, and I guarantee you will be rewarded for it by a lot of fun and a great experience with your friends. So
yeah,
thanks for tuning in. We love you guys, and yeah, cheers.
Cheers.
May you always roll natural 20s.
Yes, only nat 20s.
Only nat 20s.
Like you did 4 times in a row in the last time we played. It's ridiculous. You rolled 4 nat 20s in a row.
It was pretty sweet. Yeah.
Critical. Critical.
Yeah. I don't want to say it's my proudest achievement in life.
Your rolls were so bad before that, though. It was bad. 4 natural. Yeah. All right. We'll see you guys in the next episode.